In this video then, we're going to look at creating a random number game in Python. Again, I'm using programmiz.com's Python interpreter. It allows me to create Python, as you know, using anything from your phone, tablet, Chromebook, or standard laptop. I'm going to start off then by putting in place a simple little setup first. So I'm going to start off with answer. And I say answer is equal to the input from the question, and my question is going to be, please enter the number 1. And then I'm going to put in a simple check. So I'm going to say if answer 2 equals this time because it's a comparison as opposed to just a setting, and I'm going to put in speech marks the number 1. I'm going to say print well done. I'm then going to go on and say else, so if they put anything else in, print, and again, trying to put my brackets in correctly, someone doesn't listen. Anything inside of brackets, the computer will print as is, no matter what I write, any spelling mistakes, grammatical mistakes, or anything like that. If I run that program then, it says please enter the number 1. If I enter the number 1 on this side, and I press enter, it says well done. If I run it again, and I press the number 2, it says someone doesn't listen. I'm just going to put a \n there, so it goes on to the next line, so when it does it, my answer is in the line below, rather than on the same line. So what I've done, very quickly and very simply, is set up a variable, set up an input command with my question, put in a comparison using my if statement to see if it's correct, and if it is, then another print. If it's not, then a different print. The whole of this section here is running my basic premise of my program. If I wanted to do that lots of times, I could copy it and then paste it, and paste it. Now, knowing Python, we all know that's going to cause us issues because it's out of line. So let me just bring that back into line there, and back into line here. And having, so far, 24 lines of code would allow me to run that same function 4 times. Prove it, I'll run it. 1, 2, 3, 4. I could recreate that in a much, much better way. If I was to remove this section instead, and set this up as define question, and then I was to indent all of this so it's inside my question definition, and I was just to call question, and I call question 4 times, so once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, and I run that, you'll see I get exactly the same output as I did just now, but rather than taking up 24 lines of code, it's only taking up 11. It's much, much more efficient, and it's known as dry programming, so don't repeat yourself. Working on this premise then, we're going to add a little bit more to it, and then I'm going to leave it to you to come up with a solution. What I'm going to do is go before my definition, and I'm going to tell it to import, and it's going to be importing random. Now that's going to import a random number for me, and I'm going to say my number equals random, so that function that we've just imported, dot rand int. Now this allows me to set a lower and an upper limit. I want a 4-digit number, so I'm going to put in 0000 up to 9999. If I put by here then print my number, just to show you how it works, when I run this, it is not happy with my number definition there. Oh. I did spell that all correctly, line 4. Because it needs to be a string. And it needs to be set up in its brackets correctly. Run. There you go. So it's generated the random number 8206. But within this function here, it can't find my number. So if I put this print, if I cut it from it there, and I placed it inside my function here, you'll see it no longer print it straight away. And when it comes to hit there, it will cause an error. It shouldn't have picked up my number. Oh, it's a different random number from there to there. So if I do that again, it should be two different numbers. No, it's the same number. Love it when Python changes slightly. Never mind then, that makes it nice and simple. We would have had to put in global and then set that so that it could access that number, but it seems like it's automatically set it up as a global for me, so there's no need for that element there. That's perfectly fine. We're not going to print out my number. What we're going to do instead is ask the user to guess a number and see if it's correct. If it's correct, we're going to say well done. If it's not correct, we're just going to call question again. So now what will happen is if I run that, what it'll actually do is nothing because I took question out from here. Put that back in place. Run that again. Question, enter a number. If I enter anything other than 1, it'll ask me to enter a number. If I enter 1, it says well done and it finishes the program. Using this basic principle and the my number random function I've shown you here, I want you to put in place a system that asks the user to enter a guess for a random number, and if it's correct, it says well done. If it's incorrect, it tells them to guess again. Okay. Now, once you've done that, you are going to need to hand it in via Teams. So, as you can do, the easiest way to do this would be to highlight it. I showed you this before. Go to copy, find a text editor, or you can go into Teams, and if I open up a new incognito window, I can go teams.microsoft.com. I do hope the technicians haven't changed the password to this one. Say dummy7@aberdareschool.co.uk. They haven't, that's brilliant, I can get into it. So it's going to load with my Teams. This is using Teams through the web side of things. I can go into my assignments. Now he hasn't got an assignment for what we've got, but I can show you what I want to show you from this. On add work, I can go add new file as a Word document and call it Python upload and click attach. I can click into this document then and paste my code. Now it's automatically saving for me. I don't need to do anything, and don't worry about spelling mistakes or anything like that because it won't understand programming logic. I'm going to click on close and click on turn in. That way then I get my lovely little unicorn, but I know that that's turned it in correctly. Okay, good luck.